One. All right, everybody. I just laugh every time that I have to say this name. Welcome to the Two D's One podcast. By the way, I'm slacking because I haven't even come up with the logo yet. I know I need to work on that, and my goal is to come up with something absolutely ridiculous using AI.
I That's just the way that everything works now.
Yeah.
My wife is like, "Hold on, let me ask Chat GPT."
Yeah.
We were trying
Yep.
to we were trying to figure out how much a koi is, like a koi fish,
Okay.
because we bought a house last June and we've got this koi pond, and there is a koi that's 24 to 30 inches long.
Okay.
And when I got fish food for it, I saw like little koi fish that were like $95.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had a guy coming. We're about to jump into a full backyard renovation, and this plumber came to look at moving some pool plumbing, and he's like, "Dude, you got a nice fish there." And I was like, "Thanks, man." He's like, "How long have you had it?" I said, "We just got the house in June, and it was here when we got it." He's like, "Dude, you're looking at least a $3,000 fish."
No shit.
And I was like, hold on, what? So we start diving into it. Apparently, this is like a kohaku koi,
Okay.
and they go anywhere from $500 to $50,000. And so now I'm like scrambling, trying to figure out because we started yesterday, and the guys are like bringing a jackhammer today, and so like I've got to get rid of this fish, but nobody will buy it. They're like best case, like check Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, see if somebody will buy it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how many people are in the market for a couple $1,000 koi on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah. Have you ever ate carp before?
I
You
have
ever
not. I've bow
eaten
fished
carp?
for them, but it
Yeah.
was just eradication. So
Yeah. So maybe you can throw a little fish fry with it.
the kids
The
have been
most
wanting to catch it.
expensive, the most expensive fish fry you'll ever throw in your life.
I just want to go to a really nice restaurant where people are paying top dollar for like fresh tuna.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of those fish go for like $1 million.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they're going to be eating it, and like this was a $450 meal, and I just laugh it off.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I had $1,000 fillet yesterday from my koi pond.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. Eating rare fish would be kind of cool to say that you've done it. I don't
Yeah.
know if you necessarily, it's probably not gonna blow your mind. You could probably bread it and well, let me ask you this. How old do you think that fish is?
Dude, I have no he's got to be, I bet he's at least 5 years old. I mean, maybe way older.
Yeah.
The people who lived here before we did only lived here for a year. The people who lived here before them, I think, built the place, and they were like a rich UK couple. So all the
Okay.
landscaping is like very European. Even the way the house was set up, very European. And then they have this koi pond.
Mm.
And I'm like, I've never actually known anyone who had a koi pond.
Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, it's basically a big water trough dropped in the concrete with like landscaping around it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. The kids have gotten attached to this fish, and that's the other thing the plumber said. He goes, "Yeah, man, I had a really really nice koi. It was probably about that size, and then somehow a raccoon got to it."
Them damn raccoons.
I'm thinking to myself, dude, I'm gonna kick myself if we keep this koi and then a raccoon kills it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my buddy, his dad put in a koi pond for his mom. His mom was like, "Oh, dude, I want a koi pond. I want a koi pond." And finally, he's like, "Okay, I'll shut up. I'll get you a damn koi pond." And they put it in. Little bit of oversight happened when they didn't put a heater in it,
Oh my
and
gosh.
it froze in the wintertime. And they just really didn't think about it. And
Yeah.
then they just had these, they weren't big koi, but it was koi popsicles, and they didn't survive. And then that koi pond sat there untouched for probably 15 years. They didn't do they didn't do anything to it. And
Yeah.
so all that money and all that to make a woman happy, and it didn't work. So
See, we didn't do anything with our koi this year, and the pond froze.
yeah.
Like the top of it was mostly frozen. The
Hmm.
waterfall that comes down on the front was just an ice waterfall, and the koi are doing better than ever.
Oh, nice. I'm
So
happy for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of wish they would have died because we need these koi out of here.
Well, so in like certain areas where you go fishing, there's people who it's illegal to do, but they fish with goldfish. They'll buy goldfish and then they'll put them on the end of a hook and throw them out in wherever and try to catch fish. But I guess that if you do that, it can really ruin the ecosystem.
Oh, I'm
I don't know
sure.
how, but like all these goldfish start to spread, and then you get like a Asian carp scenario, like they got up in the like Illinois River.
Yeah.
And they're breeding and they're choking out all the other species that live there, and because they're thriving, and it's I don't know. Just
Yeah,
don't
they're
throw that.
tough animals, man.
I know. Don't throw
Like
that
they
carp in the river, or
that
that fish in
well,
the river.
that is what my buddy suggested. He goes, I was floating the river one time in my kayak, and there was like a 2 foot goldfish. I mean, it
That's what I'm
was
saying.
yeah,
They
he's
can
like, it
survive.
swam right underneath me, and I wanted to catch it so bad. He's like, you should let this go in one of the rivers. And I'm like, I don't want to lose my ability to hunt and fish because
Mhm.
I got lazy about releasing a koi.
Yeah. The other thing that people do with carp is they catch them and then they'll put them in their gardens for fertilizer. So, worst case scenario, you can use this koi as fertilizer for your lawn or any type of vegetable garden.
Do you just leave it like whole, or do they cut it up?
I don't know. You could, you could probably, you could probably dig a hole, lay it in the hole, and then, like it. I don't know. Before you start planting things, just like rototill over it so many times.
You,
And
you know how brutal
mix it
that
into
would,
the.
like when you catch a rock and it jumps real
Yep.
hard?
Yep.
No, you just see like orange scales shooting out the side of the tiller.
Love it. Well, I'm just saying that's an option. That's an option. Um.
Never in my life thought I would have to be talking about fish disposal
Oh yeah.
on a podcast.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, good luck, dude. Hopefully
Life is
it
good,
all.
apparently.
Yeah. I don't know. That's like, what do they say? That's a white people problems.
First
That's
world
a
problems.
first world problems. Dude, I got all these fish. I don't know what to do with them. Meanwhile, there's some dude, out some third world country going, dude, I'll take them. If you get them to
Yeah.
me, I'll take them. I'll do whatever. Send them to me. I'll eat them. So,
Well, that pond was completely untouched when we got
yeah.
here. I mean, it was so green you could barely tell there were fish in it.
Hmm.
And then, when water gets really cold, it clears up.
Yep.
And the other day I was out there, I'm like, there are 7 other koi in this pond. Like,
Okay.
they're
So
all
it's not just one fish.
no, I mean, there's one torpedo of a fish. He's
Yeah.
huge. And then there's a bunch of like 9-inch. Some of them are all orange. One of them's orange and black. And then there's one that was pretty sneaky. It was all black and you couldn't see it against the black bottom. And then
Hmm.
he swam over a rock and I was like, whoa, whoa, guys, look. And the kids are like, yeah, we know. We've seen him.
Yeah.
They're so in tune with everything here. I'm like, I'm that dad who's like, oh, I didn't even know there were more fish. And they're like,
Right.
yeah, that one's Martha and that one's Fred and that one,
Oh, they got them named. Now
Oh,
you
man.
can't use them as fertilizer if they're named, it's too late. You got to take care of them now.
Yeah. I'm not taking care of them.
Okay.
I said the only way I do that is if I put in like the coolest koi pond, like bordering our pool. I mean, just a shallow one where they can just dart from one end to the other. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe there's koi races that we could start betting on.
Yep. Koi races, or you could put a glass wall in your pool, and so one is for swimming, and then the other little section of it is for, or maybe it loops all the way around your pool, and then that's where you put your koi in, so it looks like you're swimming with the koi.
we're gonna need some really good sponsors for this podcast if I'm gonna
Yeah.
do that.
Right. Right. Yeah. And maybe I don't know, man. Maybe your wife, maybe some of those social media checks start doubling or tripling in the next couple. Dude, maybe you just got to do another surrogacy story.
Dude, so I don't know when this podcast is gonna officially air,
Mm-hmm.
so I might be jumping the gun, but she isn't gonna be doing another surrogacy journey for 9 months.
You got tricked and it worked. Holy shit. Congrats, dude.
Dude, yeah. She was supposed to get her tubes tied. The night before, she's crying. She's like, I'm afraid, like, of going under, doing the anesthesia thing. And I was like, babe, it's going to be okay. But honestly, it feels weird to take the option off the table. I
Yeah.
said, I'm not saying I want another kid, but it just feels weird to, like, remove that ability.
Right.
And she's like, so should we not do it? And I was like, again, this isn't because I'm like, hey, I want a bunch more kids. I'm just saying it's weird to take it off. All she heard was, I want another baby. And then she turned into a wild animal for a couple weeks.
Man, so here's the deal with I don't know if we've talked about this. We might have, but I think I have super sperm and I'm lucky. Maybe I did. I don't know. But I'm lucky I didn't get a girl pregnant before I got married. Okay.
Yeah.
Because dude, or my wife is just extremely fertile and like our two genetic makeups just worked really good. But I was hoping there was going to be a time where where she just didn't get pregnant right away. I was hoping
Yeah.
for, like just a whole bunch of sex leading up to it. But nope. It was like 2 weeks, boom, done. 2 weeks, boom, done. 2 weeks,
Yep.
boom, done. When we decided to have other kids, it was just like squirt pregnant. I mean, that was it, dude. That's how quick it went. And
Yeah.
I was hoping for more, but I guess I got some thick sperm that just made it to where it needed to go.
Please don't refer to it as thick.
Thick sperm, like it was gravy. I think the next time you eat biscuits and gravy, you'll think at a restaurant, I'll take the thick biscuits and gravy, baby.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we had a pretty similar experience where the nice thing was this go round, she didn't test right away. She waited a couple weeks, but I told her it's just like any good sports practice, right? Leading up to the big game, 2-a-days.
Absolutely.
And she's like, okay, 2-a-days. And the nice thing is because she waited to test so long, it was just 2 days for a while.
Yes.
To where it was just like, but it's funny because normally, she wants it to be intimate and like feel loved. When she wants to get pregnant, it's like it's like she's a cat. And have you ever seen a cat when it's in heat and it like backs up against? She was just all in all the time. I would wake up and she'd be attacking me, and then middle of the day, she's like, hey babe, can you come in here quick? And I'm like, yeah. So I go in the room and I'm like, whoa, this is happening right now. And there's no like, hey, let's just talk now. It was like, okay, you can go back to doing what you were doing. Yeah. I'm like, is this how you feel? Like, is this how you feel? When I'm just like, babe, we should probably do something.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, all right, got to go hunting. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's how she feels when I act that way.
Just used.
I
just completely used
and dirty.
Hey, dude. And I'm guessing you didn't have too much of a problem with that.
So the first time that we had sex without a condom for a while, because we weren't planning on getting, she's like, hey, after the tube's tied, you're all good. The first time without a condom, we were in the act and she goes, do you want to stop and put a condom on? And I was like, what? What kind of question is that? do I just want to stop right now? Like, as if I'm
What?
like defending myself against her, like, please stop, I need a condom on. I'm like, no. And then from there, it was just no protection at all. So,
That a boy. That a
yeah.
boy. Hey, I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you. My brother, I like on one of his pregnancies, kind of struggled. They had my nephew, and then they were going for another one, and they struggled. They went through the IVF type
Yep.
stuff. They spent a lot of money doing that, and there was a period of time where it was just like repetitive sex. I mean, just to the point where I think he even got sick of it. Where it was, no, I'm serious, like so much of it coming at you at one time, like just like the complete opposite of,
Yeah.
like men complain, oh, dude, I don't have enough sex. But imagine getting a bucket full of sex dumped on you for months and months at a time. Like most guys think that they could handle it, but I don't know if they necessarily could. I would like to at least test that theory out at some point. Like, how much sex is too much sex?
Yeah.
You know? But then their third kid, it was just they went on a little vacation or a weekend getaway, and it was one time done. And so their middle kid, they had to spend all this money for IVF, and then their second kid was just like, or their third kid was just boom, done.
Dude.
And so
It's
crazy.
wild how like
Yeah.
people's bodies can change, their fertility can change. And I mean, I know more about pregnancy and like all of these different things than I ever thought I would because
Yeah.
she's done surrogacy twice and hearing different issues that people have. But then she got nervous because there's like essentially secondhand infertility where you could have kids, you could have surrogate babies, and then for some reason your body's just like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
And so she's like, what if all of a sudden we can't get pregnant?
Yeah.
And then the first test she took, it was like she took now they've got the digital ones and they just say pregnant or not pregnant on it. She did that, and then she did the double line one, and it was like very obvious.
Yeah.
And so we haven't had our first appointment or anything yet. I think that's going to be in a week or two.
Nice.
And the other weird thing is everybody has mentioned twins.
Ugh.
And that's never happened. Nobody in all the time she's been pregnant, nobody's ever been like, what if it's twins?
Mm-hmm.
And our son did it. My mother-in-law did it. Our friends did it. And then someone else the other day, we were on the phone with them and they said the same thing. And they're like, what if it's twins? But I told her, now I know twins is a handful, but I just know because there's spacing between our youngest and now this one, she's going to want a sibling for it, like a similar age sibling. So I'm like,
oh, so you're going to run back to back on kids again?
I
for
really feel like we are. And that's, if I had my way, we wouldn't. Like, we'd have this one and be good.
Yeah.
But I know my wife well enough that she's going to want another one. So in my mind, I'm like, what if it's just twins and we knock them both out and then we're like for sure done?
That would be great. Now, here's what I'll say is I didn't have my first kid till I was 32 or something like that. And then now I have three, and I'm 45 or 44 right now. And so you're young enough now. If I was your age, I would probably spit out another kid or two if I already had three. Right? Dude, I love kids, man. I love my kids. I love hanging out with, like, if I had to choose to go hang out with one of my buddies at a bar or go do something or like go fishing with my kids or hang out with my kids, dude, my kids, I love hanging out with my kids. Like I don't bitch about them too much. Now they do some dumb shit, but they get that from me probably. So, I don't know. Like if I was 10 years younger and already had 3 kids, I would go for 4. Oh,
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I have no problem. I mean, we talked about a lot of kids early on, and I've always loved kids. I mean, one of my sisters is pregnant with her 7th right now.
Oh shit.
And I've never been the guy who's like, oh my gosh, if my wife got pregnant again, I would be devastated. I told her that. I was like, hey, I'm 50-50 right now of like whether or not I want another one. I'm like, yeah, it would be cool. I'd be excited, but also life's good. And I said, but I will never get the news that you're pregnant and be like, oh my gosh, why did we do this? You know?
Mhm.
And I just know too many people who kind of have that mindset. And
Yeah.
it's just devastating when they get pregnant. And I'm like, you can
Yeah.
do something about that. You know that, right? Like
Yep.
there, now
They got
granted,
they got
it's not
scissors.
always perfect. It's not 100% effective, but like you can almost guarantee you're not going to get pregnant.
Right. Right.
So,
Let's see here. I had a buddy who had, well, he's not like a really close friend, but he had 3 kids. And he had 3 kids. They were all girls, and he really wanted a boy. So they tried for well, my neighbor across the street tried for uh, their fourth one to be a boy. It turned out to be a girl. So he's got 4 girls. They're done. Right.
yeah.
But I got another buddy who 3 girls tried for a boy, had twins on their what they thought was going to be a fourth child. And so they got a fourth and a fifth child. And I saw him out in public one time, like after he just had kids, like maybe a month or 2 into it. And he looked hollow. Like he looked like the dude looked like there was nothing left to him. Like he just
Yeah.
looked like he had seen battle. You know what I mean? Just like he had seen the most, I don't know. He just looked, I'm like, hey, dude. And it took him a second to like recognize me. It just looked like he was shell shocked. Like he had no clue what was going on, where he was at, why he was there. I'm like, hey, it's me, Dan. Like, hey, dude, how are you?
Hey,
Oh,
it's your.
hey, man. Hi. What's up? Like, he just seemed like he was lost.
I always think of that when I see wore out dads. I just picture them as like coal miners and a collapse just happened and they're coming out and they're just like, I can't believe I'm still here. We lost a lot of good men in there today. But like, I
Have
made
you
it.
ever seen those
Why me?
pictures of those like World War I where they were letting like 14 and 15-year-olds go into war?
Yeah.
And there's like a picture of them like there's a picture of them. They look young, like, holy shit, this kid's actually going to go to war. And then they show them a picture like 2 years later if they survived, and they look 50 after
They
two
look
years of
so
war.
old. They
Yeah,
chain
and they're only
smoked.
18.
They were just chain smoking for years
Yeah.
in a pit somewhere. Yeah, man. The effects that like just stress have on people.
Right.
I think it's funny because like my mother-in-law says things to my wife all the time that I couldn't say, and her sister does too,
Mm-hmm.
where they're just like, "You look really stressed and wore out,"
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, "Oh, that's not going to go over well." And she's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, that's because like I've got a lot going on right now."
Mm-hmm.
Or the other day when we told her sister the news, she's like, "Oh yeah, I can totally tell. You're not going to be able to hide that. Like you definitely look bigger." And I'm like, "Oh, what did she just
This
say?"
goes back to the last conversation that we had, where I don't know, whatever the last time we recorded, where it's like, if I said that shit to my wife, I'd get stuff thrown at me. But
Yeah.
for some reason, other women can almost straight up insult another woman, like, "Oh my God, you look bloated and fat and gross," and they're like, "Oh, I know, I hate myself." And then I say that if I was to say like, "You look tired, sweetie, maybe you should lay down." What are you trying to say? It's a trap. I walked into it. I got my legs blown off by this mine that I didn't see, or maybe I saw it because I've stepped on it before, but I didn't realize that. Oh, I'm just going to try to help out in a dumbass way instead of just being quiet. Stepped on it, boom, legs explode, and now I'm crawling back to safety. So,
Dude, I feel that all the time. Like my marriage is great. Like it's funny because you hear people say like, "Oh, we don't fight." Like we don't have blowouts, you know.
Right.
Like we disagree on things,
Mm-hmm.
but when I put something like when I wear an outfit to go out and she doesn't like it, it's very clear.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I am not going to be able to leave the house with this on.
Yeah.
She's like, "That shirt looks boxy." Okay, well, like I like this shirt. Well, it's just really boxy and like it doesn't look like it fits right. Okay, I mean, that's okay. We're just like going to the grocery store. No, I think you should change it. For me, she'll be like, what do you think about these?
Mhm.
You know, what if you wear the other ones? I really like the other ones. Oh my gosh. No, I'm wearing these. I'm like, how? What?
Yeah,
How does this work?
it's twisted, dude. It's mental illness, probably, is what it is. We won't
It's
we won't ever tell it to them, but a lot of women have
10 years
mental
from now, we're
illness.
going to be the hollow guys just walking. My wife made me wear this.
Yeah, matching outfits all the time. Like as people get older, sometimes they start to look like each other. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen that? I hope that
I
shit don't happen.
Dude, I've known two young couples who I thought were brother and sister. They
Not
looked that
good.
much alike.
Not good.
And I'm like, "Oh yeah, his sister." And he goes, my buddy's like, "That's his wife."
Hmm.
And I was like, "No, no, no. Like they look very much like siblings." And
Yeah.
he's like, "No, dude, they're married." He goes, "It's
Yeah.
funny because I've known them since they were dating and they didn't look anything alike. And in 10 years of marriage, they look like siblings now, which
Yeah.
is wild to me."
Yeah. Which like imagine they find out you think that, right? Or at least your buddy does. You're like, dude, you kind of look like your wife, or they hear that secondhand, and then the next time they have sex, like he's just looking at her and thinking that he's having sex with some version of himself, and he can't perform anymore. Like it just ruins their marriage because he can't get it up because he thinks he's having sex with his sister. That'd be
Dude, it's
creepy.
it's like the opposite of that Joe Dirt deal. Do you remember that? When he's he's with the blonde girl, I don't know what her name is.
Presley,
And
right? Presley, or
yeah, that
yeah,
sounds right.
she's like just a really attractive blonde, but she's like
Yeah.
a white trash version of it, right?
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they like start putting things together and they're like, "Well, I'm from there. I'm from there." And they think they're like, "Wait a minute, we're siblings."
Right.
And then and then they find out that they're not and he can't perform anymore.
Yep.
And then there's that scene where she's like yelling, "I'm your sister." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, dude, the amount of movies that came out, and I mean, they're still coming out with them, but like movies and TV shows, even from 15, 20 years ago, and how they've changed and the things that they can't get away with.
Hmm.
I feel like the pendulum might be swinging back a little bit
Right.
right now, away
Yeah.
from the whole PC thing, and we're going to start seeing good movies and good comedy again, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Will Ferrell era, the Chris Farley era of comedy.
Yeah.
Those two were obviously my favorite styles of movies. Just like there's a couple other ones like Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Those styles of comedy where there's some. See, I'm a huge fan of like slapstick, fall
Oh,
down, get
yeah.
hurt. We talked about how last week about how funny it is when fat chicks fall down. But like, but like that style of comedy, gross, gruesome, like I don't know, like some like it's just hilarious to me. Just like
It's the
not
shock factor.
yeah, the shock factor. I laugh at stuff like that, and so that's the style of comedy I like in my movies too. So
Yeah. Did
Step
you
Brothers,
you're
perfect
a Chris
example.
Farley fan. Did you
Yep.
see Almost Heroes?
Oh yeah, I've seen Almost Heroes, dude.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I talked to a lot of people who don't even know that's a movie,
Yeah, well,
and
those
it is
people are
so
dumbasses.
good. The
Yeah.
whole movie, it's
The
just
whole movie's hilarious.
it's gold. Me and my brother quote it, and people look at us like, "Who? The buffalo are near,"
Hmm.
you know? And they're just like, "Dude, what are you quoting right now?" My wife just guesses The Office or Dumb and Dumber every
Yeah.
time if I'm quoting something.
Right.
And I'm a huge movie fan, huge movie quoter. I
Mhm.
can't remember what my wife asked me to do 5 minutes ago,
Right.
but I can remember a quote from a movie I saw as a 10-year-old.
Right. I don't do that as much anymore because I don't watch as many movies, or I've kind of slipped off watching old movies because I'm just too busy doing shit. But me and my brother still. Have you seen the movie Predator? before with
Yeah.
the original one with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
So there's a scene in that movie where Schwarzenegger meets up with Carl Weathers, the black dude, the black dude, and they do like this bro handshake, and it's just two roided out arms in the scene, just like
It
flexing,
looks
and they're
like yeah,
holding. Yeah, they're
they
arm
do it and
wrestling.
it's yeah.
And then one of us goes, okay, okay, okay. And then the other one goes, what, the CIA got you pushing too many pencils? And that we laugh at that for 15 minutes. And then we go off on a tangent where we quote the Predator. And then that's how me and my brother connect after being apart for, a couple months at a time or whatever.
That's so good. Do you talk to your brother a lot?
Not a lot. And usually it's just like sending funny reels or jokes back and forth to each other. But
Yeah.
we don't, it's funny. He's got his family and he's busy. I got my family and I'm busy. And we try, actually, we've made it a point. We are trying in the process of trying to connect more often
Yeah.
because, he's he's like my best friend, dude. Period.
Yeah.
There's nothing like a brother. And so even though he's kind of like 5 years, he's 5 years younger than me. So we didn't necessarily hang out a ton when I was in high school because he was 5 years younger than me or whatever. So our paths didn't really cross really until after I was done with college, and we hung out a little bit more. But still, like he's my hands down favorite person to hang out with. So
Yeah.
I wish I could hang out with him more. Hell, I wished he lived on the same street as me. That would be awesome to me.
Yeah. I it's funny because I know people who are like super tight with their family. And like me and my family, we have a great relationship. I've got three older sisters, a younger brother, but there have been times where like I go a half a year without talking to a sibling.
Yeah.
I go months without talking to my mom or my dad.
Yeah.
But it's that type of relationship where as soon as we see each other, it's like
It's
we've
back
been
on.
talking every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's back on.
We hung out yesterday,
Yeah.
And my brother just moved to the town we're in, and it's amazing because when I was in college, he lived down here for a little bit. Then he went back to Wisconsin, got hooked on heroin. So it was
Oh.
like I didn't have a brother for 10 years, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he just wasn't the same. Talking to him, being around him, and then he got clean. Now he's clean, he's married, and he lives in the same town. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day, he's like, dude, you want to go coyote hunting? You want to go golfing? What are you guys doing today? Let's hang out. Let's do something. Any big trips?
Does he have any kids?
Nope, no
Oh.
kids.
Okay. Okay.
We'll
How
see.
many years younger than you is
He's
he?
3 years younger than me.
Okay. All right.
So
Cool.
like we were pretty close. I mean, all of our spacing in my family, I think the farthest was 3 years.
Gotcha.
And so everybody's fairly close, but it's like everybody's moved different places throughout. I mean, we moved down to Missouri. I haven't moved back to Wisconsin ever. All of my other siblings have moved away and then back, and now they're splitting up again. Like my middle sister, she lives in Florida. My the youngest sister, she's the next one older than me. She lives in Wisconsin. My oldest sister, they go to Israel like 6 months out of the year, and then they come back. And then my brother, I mean, he moved down here, moved back, moved to Colorado, and then moved here. So it's like we've all kind of bounced around quite
Yeah.
a bit.
Yeah.
Which is
Man.
weird, Like you remember when you were kids and you see your cousins and you're like, when we grow up, we're gonna live right next door to each other. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna hang out all the time. And
Yeah.
then you're not even close to living by your sibling.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just the way life works,
Yep.
There's this guy that I follow on the internet. His name is Mark Driscoll. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's like a preacher or something like
Yeah,
that.
very well.
Yep. And so I like following him, especially when he talks about family and it's not that you're trying to bring new people into an already existing family when you get married and have kids. You're starting your own family. And so if you're sacrificing your family to make another, like a mom or a dad happy, or make your brother happy or sister happy or something, you're not doing it right. And
Yeah.
so, like, my brother lives an hour and a half away from me. My to the north, my mom lives and stepdad live an hour and 15 minutes to the south of me. My dad lives an hour and 30 minutes northwest of me. And so we're like all centralized, and we get to see each other I want to say not fairly often, but at least maybe once a month or something like that. Maybe
Yeah.
once every 2 months for sure. My my parents are both retired, so they come to a lot of the kids' activities when it's time. My brother, he's got his own thing going, and would I like to see him more? Absolutely. But I understand why I don't, because he's
Yeah.
doing the same shit that I'm doing right now.
Yeah. I it's funny being the age that I remember my dad being and thinking about the choices and like, why can't we do this? Why can't we do this? Why can't we do this? And realizing now what all goes into being a husband and a father. And like, he had 5 kids.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, why don't we move over and be closer to them? Well, it's not that easy. And I'm thinking, yeah, it is. We buy a house and we do this and we do that.
Job, dude. Got to have a job.
And yeah, and he drove truck over the road for a good chunk of my life. And so that was weird. But now looking at it, and I'm like, to provide and protect a family, like it's just a heavy thing all the time.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
And like even when we work, I mean, we have so much time freedom and I love it. And we're in a better financial position than I ever imagined us being in. But no matter how much I play with my kids, they're always like, why can't you play with me right now?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like I jump on the trampoline with my kids probably 3 times a day, and it's not enough. When it's time for bed, it's like, can we please just jump one more time? Why can't we play right now? You
Yeah.
know? And so I'm like, dude, you guys don't understand.
Yeah.
For me as a kid, I would see my dad on a Thursday night right before he had to leave to hit the road again.
Yeah.
And they just don't get that. But I feel like it all shapes you differently. Like me and my brother were super competitive and we're very athletic. Like you introduce me to a new sport, I'll probably be better than the average person within a month. And I think a lot of that is because my dad was gone and we were always doing things. We're like, when he gets back, we're going to be so good at this. And we'd show him like, I can hit a golf ball this far. I can hit a baseball this far. I can throw this or catch this or whatever. And so my kids are just now getting to that point where they're very interested in sports and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a cool, every time we go outside, Dad, stand right there. Throw it. I'm going to go way up the hill. Okay. We'll try. Sometimes it hits him in the face, but he he dives for things. He's going to be a stud.
Yeah. Well, that lets you know like how lucky guys like us are to be able to spend the time that we spend with our kids.
Yeah.
Because some guys don't do that. I mean, I know dudes that like they're working in factories. They're working for 12-hour shifts. They leave the house before their kids get up, and then depending on what day it is or how many hours of overtime they're working or whatever, then they're they're home, and they're so tired that they can't even do anything. They try their hardest, but their main priority is financial. Like I'm working all these hours for financial reasons. Well, then I got another one of my son's friends. His dad works first shift. It's either first or second. And then his mom works third shift at this factory. And so they only get one parent at a time. Right. So they got one parent with what it was like 4 kids or something like that now. And then it's not hard because people, they tough it up and they handle it. But I look at what I could be doing. Like if this whole podcasting thing that I've set up in my life the businesses that I've created didn't work, I would be in a factory somewhere, or I'd be
Yep.
sitting in a cubicle somewhere, just not necessarily hating my life, but I'd be doing it to make money for my family. Right.
Yep.
I didn't necessarily complain a lot about my job. I did my job before I was fortunate enough to step away from it. Well, I got forced to step away from it through a layoff, but I had built something that I kind of then stepped into full time, and that's great. But what motivates me these days is the two things. It's the kids, being able to be extremely flexible. If I want to take a day off and do nothing for my business, and I can go spend an entire day with my kids, or I can, um, you know, like during hunting season, I take trips to go on hunts, or I take a day off to go to a wrestling tournament or something like that. It just means I got to work harder at other parts of the day. But the other thing that motivates me is like knowing that there is another life I could be living that would not make me near as happy.
Yeah.
So it's those are the two things that kind of keep me moving in a specific direction.
Dude, we've got some friends that are like, what if this falls apart? Like, what if the social media thing, the podcasting doesn't work out anymore? And I'm like, dude, that would suck. Like
Yeah.
going back, like tasting what I feel like life can be,
Mhm.
and like having time to do things, being able to say yes to things, being able to help other people out financially, being able to play with my kids, to go from that to, all right, going to work 10 hours. Oh, I've got another work trip I got to go on. Like it'd be brutal now. Now
Yeah.
that now that I've experienced this type of life.
Yeah.
But
And
I mean,
I'll
I get it.
yeah.
Like I get that you just have to do it sometimes. But it's
Yeah.
also given me a realization that providing for my family, like financially, obviously you have to pay bills. But like that's not the most important form of provision for my wife and kids,
Right.
you know?
Yep. Yep. I like how you said that, like tasting a different type of life, right?
Yeah.
And when someone said to me, because I told you a while ago, I don't know if it was during a recorded conversation or not, how a lot of people, when I broke away and started my own businesses, how no one believed in me. Like
Yeah.
nobody in my family, no, my wife, nobody was like supporting me. It was me and only me. And so I grew up, we didn't have much, right?
Yeah.
And so when people say to me, what happens if it doesn't work out? Then I just go, well, I start over again.
Yeah.
I'll start over and I'll get back to something different. But what you don't lose when you have to start over again is all the knowledge that you've gained from building something. Maybe it fails, maybe it's successful, whatever the case is. You go back to you go back to zero with all this knowledge of how to do it again. And it's
Yeah.
going to shorten the time. And maybe you crash and burn, or maybe you find success again. But I'll tell you this right now, man. Um, I wouldn't be worried. My wife would, my parents would, right? Would we have to sacrifice financially in certain areas of our life? Absolutely. But I'm not afraid to go back to zero because I know that I
Yeah.
can build something else again from scratch, doing what I've done. And the only issue with me is, you mentioned tasting certain parts of life. Like with more money comes more opportunities to do unique and take advantage of certain things. And I'll be honest, man. As far as podcasting works, this is kind of a really, and this because we've had this discussion, but like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there was this boom in analytics. And when you have a boom in analytics, that you also have a boom financially.
Yep.
And dude, I was raking in cash there for a while. And then the algorithms changed on how they report analytics. So then everything kind of took a drop off. COVID ended. And so there was like this perfect storm of how analytics were changed and how downloads were reported and stuff like that. And long story short, that income, that big chunks of income, disposable income, changed. And while I was doing that, I was able to save a little bit of that for a nest egg. And then at the same time, I was taking my wife on trips. Like we went to Napa Valley. And this is going to sound this isn't going to sound braggy, but this is what I had available to me. But like we went on like a $10,000 vacation where we did it up, right? Like I want to say, I hope it's not the trip of a lifetime, but it's been so far the trip of a lifetime. And so we did the wine tasting, this wine experience. I did that whole trip for my wife. She's tasted that, and then the financials have dropped off, and now she's wondering why those experiences have changed, right?
Yeah.
We can't do that anymore. And so that's just real life, man. Like you
Oh,
have to be prepared for, you play with the best, but be prepared for the worst, man.
yep. It's crazy how quickly like your standard of living can change.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just expect X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
When my wife tells me now, like, hey, we got to watch our finances because we have this, this, and this, I'm like, what does that even mean? Like,
Yeah.
we've got that backyard renovation and it is so much money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, crap, I have to be careful what I spend. And again, like you said, I don't want it to sound douchey, but like you get used to it so fast.
Mm-hmm.
But like you, I mean, we've built several businesses over our marriage. Like we built a wedding planning business that we both ran. We did RV renovations.
Mm-hmm.
We jumped into social media and podcasting, and it's like we just have drive. We have a work ethic,
Yep.
and I can't even imagine how valuable that would be. Excuse me, in the workforce today.
Oh yeah.
Like seeing some people, especially in manual labor jobs, I'm like, dude, there's no way that person's cutting it right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for me, it wasn't an option. You don't get to stand around. You get a break when the 15-minute break bell rings.
Right.
And like that's all the work I've known growing up.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, man, I don't really want to be here. Yeah, all right, here's an emotional corner. Like here's a safe space that you can go hang out in for a little while. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't not to dive into politics, but I don't like who got elected. I need an emotional day.
Yeah.
We'll bring puppies in so you can hug them.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
Pussies just don't survive in the real world, man. Like they just don't. I like if you're going to play a victim in anything in life, you're always going to be a victim. You're never going to make it, and you're going to lose a lot. And so, one thing I hate losing, sounds like you hate losing, dude, the thing that I worry about, like there's the benefits, there's the benefits, but there's also a big downside to owning your own business. You are the person who makes the decisions, and you are responsible for any financial gain or loss. And so when there's periods of time where you don't know what's going to happen the next 6 months or the next 12 months out, and you're like, oh shit, now what? Like now what's going to happen? And so, long story short, like that's what worries me. So I get the benefit of being able to do whatever I want, but there's also a weight of responsibility that you carry that can sometimes be pretty damn heavy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, like there's nights where I lay in bed and I'm just like, man, I've been working with this company for years. We're doing it. And now they're telling me they're cutting back on their budgets or whatever. And now I got to know whether or not I'm going to make the cut again. And so, and then you sit there and you worry because I see the bills, man. I see how much the mortgage costs, the vehicles cost, the kids' sports and shit like that. So it's a weight, but it's worth it to me to carry that weight for that freedom of not having to go to a factory line or sit in a cubicle.
Yeah. And not answering to somebody. Like, exactly. I didn't realize how weighty that was.
Yeah.
Like having to call and ask permission to do something
Mm-hmm.
from another adult
Mm-hmm.
who is only in charge of that because someone else decided that they were in charge of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Who also probably doesn't want to be there, just like you.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
Right.
like, I would be the world's worst manager. I'll tell you that. Because people, especially now, they'd be like, hey, I've got to be here. Okay. Yeah. Go do it. Have fun with your family, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's way more important.
Yep.
And like
Yep.
profits just tank immediately because I'm just like, you get PTO and you get PTO.
Hey, I'm kind of bummed out today. Yeah, dude, fix that, man. Fix
Yeah,
that.
dude. It
But
sounds like you need to go fishing.
right. But I grew up on a farm, right? And so like if you didn't work, you did not survive.
Yeah.
And so I can remember one time it was hot as shit and we were baling hay and I was helping, like a August Midwestern day, I was baling hay, putting it on the wagon. Then we'd head to the little chain elevator that goes up into the barn and we were throwing them on there. Humid, hot, I'm dripping sweat. And I'm just like, hey, can I take a break? And my grandpa just laughed at me. He's like, what do you mean break? You had a break when you were riding from the field to the barn, right? That's your break.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing with like when I was working with my buddy who owned his own business and it was me and him or he hired me and then he hired another kid and this kid was like, hey, when are we stopping for break? And we just kind of laughed at him. We're just like, dude, who takes breaks?
Yeah.
Like who takes breaks? The only reason they offer breaks is for kind of people who, I don't know, man. It's just, yeah, sometimes you may need a break. You got to piss, whatever. You're in a high intensity factory line where it's just nonstop. If
Yep.
you miss a screw, like it screws everything up, you got to build breaks into that. But at the same time, man, like physical labor and things like that, like I've never understood taking a break. And I'm not here to beat my chest, but it's just, I've never taken a break. There's
Yeah.
days where now I do because I'm in charge and I can do whatever I want.
Yep.
But I don't know. I never understood. Like, let's take a break, dude. Let's just take a break.
My wife came out yesterday. So they started tearing out the fence, tearing out landscaping, and it's it's my buddy's company, and then two of my other friends work for him. And so they're all out there. And I mean, we are paying these people a lot of money to do this job.
Yeah.
I go out there, I go get my Sawzall out of the garage. I grab a hammer, I grab a pry bar, a sledgehammer, and I'm out there cutting up the fence, knocking it down. And my wife came out and she goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Just helping."
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "We are paying them too much money for you to be doing the work." I'm like, you got to understand, going from working with my hands and like busting my butt to being on a computer or in front of a cell phone, like I don't like it. I like what it offers, but
Yeah.
I have to do something with my hands.
Yeah.
Like it's an outlet for me. I mean, I worked a harder day's work yesterday than I've done in a long time.
Yeah.
And it felt amazing.
Yeah.
And my wife is like, if we don't have anything else going on, I don't care. If you want to be out there, go for it. Like my arms are shredded from cutting up a tree. We took out a tree and I was just like, starting that chainsaw felt so good.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is it right now. I'm going to destroy everything. And
Have you ever cut down a tree with an axe before?
I have.
Dude, that's such a great feeling.
Now, I'm not talking like a big mature one, but I bet
Right.
you it was like 14 to 16 inches.
Yeah.
And
one
it
that
felt,
boom.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Dude, that's
It
badass.
It just tips over. We also cut down a small tree with a shotgun one time. That was also pretty satisfying.
We did that over a summer at my buddy Paul. He had a pond that we all used to hang out with that was kind of next to his house out in the country. And I believe we took a 20 gauge one summer and we shot a tree until it fell over.
Yeah.
And this didn't happen in one day. I think it literally took an entire summer of 20 gauge slugs until this tree finally collapsed on itself.
You were shooting.
But-
we shot ours with birdshot, and my
Yeah.
buddy had. It's called a Sega, and it's essentially like an AK style shotgun. He had a 50 round drum for it. I mean, that
Holy
thing
shit.
was like, it felt like it was 20 pounds, and we're just sitting there, pop, 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 pop. And I mean, there's just chunks of stuff flying everywhere, and we're just pop, 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 reload the magazine, pop, 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 pop. And when that thing tipped over, it was like we had just won the war. You know, we were so pumped up.
Freedom!
Dude,
Freedom!
We're all like, whoa, ripping our shirt off, like, whoa, we are men.
Oh, dude, men are so stupid. I like, what is
Dude,
it
we
about
are.
dumb shit like that just we get excited about?
We have to.
Yeah.
It's the stupid things that we get the most pumped up about.
Yeah.
I remember we saw Starlink flying through the air for the first time, and I was hanging out with all my buddies around a fire, and we didn't know what it was. It wasn't like, hey, just a heads up, you're going to see a bunch of crazy lights just shooting through the sky together.
Is that all in a line?
Dude, all in a line. The first row was 7 of them. Then there was a break. We're all freaking out, thinking Red Dawn is happening. Then we see like 30 of them in a line. And then there was over 100, just one dot. And I mean, it looked like we were being invaded from space.
Yes.
And all of us are like, we're not terrified anymore. Now we're pumped up. We're like, dude, I'm going to have to get home to my family. You know, like.
Thank God I saved all this water.
Oh, dude, we were so fired up. And then one guy's like, hey, guys, it's just satellites. And I'm like, you idiot, put your phone away. Shut up about these satellites.
You just ruined the night with the truth.
Yeah, you totally ruined it. We all thought we were going to be the Wolverines hiding out in the Ozark Mountains, taking out North Korea. You know, like we were so pumped. And no, it didn't happen. But
I saw the same lights, dude.
Isn't it wild?
I saw the same lights when I was climbing into a tree stand down in Kansas this year.
Oh, dude.
Yep.
I mean, now knowing what I know, I'm like, oh, that was stupid for us to overreact. But I think about like tribes in the middle of nowhere that are seeing that. And it's like, I just imagine them in whatever language they're speaking, like the prophecy is being fulfilled, you know? But now there's all this alien talk.
Oh, dude, now we have to hard pivot.
Yeah.
Now we have to hard pivot because this shit, we got conspiracies here. We got conspiracy theories. What does this mean? Okay. Let's just say it. Pyramids. The pyramids in Egypt and what they have discovered underneath of the pyramids.
I mean, from everything, it seems like some type of power plant. That's what everybody is saying. The fact, dude, I just don't even know, man. I'm trying to wrap my head around it as like a Bible-believing Christian.
Yep.
You know, there's a podcast, I haven't listened to it, but I've been recommended by a couple different people. It's called the Blurry Creatures podcast.
Blurry Creatures,
for anybody who is like a believer, you know, like God is out there.
Mm-hmm.
How does this all tie in? They break the whole thing, like all of this stuff down. Like, hey, look, this is where this could be coming from. This is what could happen. And I think about, there's a Bible verse that says like nothing is new under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has been done before. And I'm like, I mean, that's not true. Like civilization, like, look at all this technology, and now things like this are coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, holy crap, man. We may not have been the first iteration, you know? Like there was something with serious technological capabilities that came before us.
Right. Hence, how and why some of those pyramid blocks that are 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 pounds were moved from a quarry. Like, this may help explain some of that.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, you think that was the feat before.
Yeah.
all of the millions of blocks that make up the Great Pyramid.
Yep.
It was like, how could they possibly have done this?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to ask that question anymore.
Right.
Right now, they're worried about pillars wrapped in coils that go kilometers below the Earth's surface.
Yep.
Like, that makes moving even 50-ton rocks seem pretty easy.
Right.
If they have that technology, I'm like, dude, I just don't even know. I think maybe Elon Musk is actually an alien, and he's known about all this junk.
Man.
Like, I mean, there's got to be some type of other life form out there
There
that
has to
had
be.
its hand in all of this. And again, that Blurry Creatures podcast, from what I understand, associate all of this with the Nephilim, which were like fallen angels that bred with humans and created this hybrid life form that was like way, way bigger than I mean, I'm talking like double, triple the size of us as humans.
Yeah.
Like, they were true giants. And I'm thinking, okay, if there's like a heavenly creature that also can take the form of a man because it interbreeds with them, I mean, dude, who knows how intelligent those things are? And this podcast talks about how, like, they are still out there and they are still active. And I'm like, whoa, what? And this is all just secondhand that I've heard from my friends. And I'm like, this is getting super interesting. But also, like, if I needed to, could a 300 PRC take them down? Like,
So there's all these conspiracy theories. So here are a couple that blow my mind, right? And so we find artifacts that go back to, like, what I think, like, the oldest human artifact is somewhere between 50,000 and 100,000 years ago, right? That's the oldest type of human artifact or skeleton or humanoid type thing that it goes. But what they're finding is that might be wrong. Like, some of that carbon dating
oh,
that
you
they've
think?
done could potentially be wrong. But what I'm getting at is there's this one guy out here who's like, the pyramid is just the top of this structure, right? Imagine a whole society underneath of that over 1,000,000 years has been covered up by the desert. Okay. So what this guy is getting at is that there was a ton of life already on this planet. And then time, obviously, so there was some event to where the human race kind of dwindled down to nothing, almost nothing. And then, time covered all of that up. A million years go by, and things can move a lot, and waters and rivers can change, and erosion and like just the breaking down of everything over time. And this planet is billions of years old, right? And so things could have happened on this planet that we have no idea of all these years ago, right? Hell, it wasn't until like what they say, George Washington, he didn't even know about the dinosaurs.
Jeez.
Imagine, I'm not sure when they discovered dinosaurs, but there was a group of humans in the United States that did not know about dinosaurs. They never didn't, like, now we're taught that in school about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But so imagine technology and all the stuff that has happened that we will never know about because time has just kind of erased it or has covered it up. And so it's not going to surprise me that these pyramids that were built however many years ago, however many thousands of years ago, are just the tip of the iceberg, like what you're starting to find. Like, shit's going to get crazier. Have you ever seen the movie Stargate?
I think, was that also a TV show?
Yeah, it was a TV show too.
Okay. I was going to say, I feel like I've seen the TV show. I think my dad used to watch that.
Yeah. So Stargate, they find this thing in the desert, and it is a portal to traveling stars all over the known universe. And so it that doesn't seem so far off anymore.
Dude,
Like
it really
to walk through a portal and go instantly to somewhere else.
the technology that is out there and what they've documented, and I mean, it could all be made up. Also, it could all be like, "Hey, look over here! Look at how cool this is," and we're all like, "Oh my gosh, what's happening?"
Yeah.
But in looking at just the scale of the universe, there's no way there are billions and billions of stars, all with their own solar systems and planets around them. There's other life out there somewhere. Now,
Yeah.
whether it's by chance, people think, oh, everything came from a single cell and boomed into this, or if it's intelligent design, there's a creator out there. It's like the Bible, even for people who believe the Bible, doesn't give us all the answers of everything.
Yeah.
Like, who's to say a creator didn't say, hey, this is the stuff that's pertinent to you. Like, this is the stuff that you need to know. Who cares about a distant planet this far away? But the human mind, our curiosity is always looking for more. Like, what else? What else? And I'm not so concerned with the information that comes out, because I know we're going to find out some crazy, crazy stuff.
Yep.
And probably in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
What I'm more curious about and what I'm more worried about is society's reaction to it.
Yeah.
Because like
100%.
the first time they actually show everyone like, hey, look, this is another being from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. We've had it this whole time. We've known about it this whole time. That's when things are going to go sideways.
Yeah. And here's what I'll say. I know you're a religious guy and you have a lot of faith and stuff like that, but we're starting to see these crazy things, the technology, like we had Area 51, and it's always been kind of like a joke that aliens had come to no one's really ever believed it. But now you're getting to the point where speculation and technology are getting closer and closer, and that gap is closing.
Yep.
I just want to ask a random question as someone who's more religious than me. What happens to religion when a spaceship finally shows up and something comes out of that spaceship and goes, oh, no, dude. No, hey, congratulations. This was a test. This was an experiment. You guys passed it because how good you are, right? Or what has happened. But we seeded life on this planet, like a million years ago. And now we're coming back to finally do some research on it, right? And everything else that you've created is made up. Like you made up sports. You made up this game called baseball. Well, it's also curious that you also made up this thing called religion. Like religion doesn't exist everywhere else in the universe. So it's just like, what does that mean for religion at that point?
I mean, at that point, I feel like there's going to be a huge divide. There's going to be a lot of people that completely leave the church and flee from religion, and like, this is actually our creator, right? And there's going to be a lot of people who get pushed deeper into the church of like, we've been lied to before. Yeah. Sure, this thing isn't explained. It wasn't in the Bible. We didn't know about this. But I feel like their perception is going to be, all of their true beliefs are going to come out at that point.
Right.
Right. You're going to see it. You're going to see crazy things. I mean, like technology, like there was no talk of the technology that we have in, the original text and the original writing. But in my mind, I've always had this weird feeling that we weren't the only creation, right? Like, and I like that science and religion actually meet up on a lot of levels. people get really hung up on timelines, on how old the earth is, how, the Bible, if you break it down, it's only, 6,500 years old.
Mhm.
And then there's people out there like Wesley Huff that break things down even further. And they're like, well, hold on. The Bible did things in like each year was actually like 7 years for them. Like the way that they had things broken down and the way that they documented in numbers, like we're calculating everything based on what we think. And I feel like there are a lot of biblical explanations for discrepancies. But the thing that drives me crazy is with science when they talk about, oh yeah, this this fossil is 50 million years old.
Yeah.
Hey, never mind, we were wrong. It's 190 million years old.
Yeah.
Hey, never mind, we were wrong. It's actually 2.3 billion years old. Like all of the, I'm like, you were off by 9,000%? And you told us we had to believe you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so like that's some of the issues. So when people throw around numbers, I just don't even care. It was the same thing with COVID, right? COVID can last on a smooth surface for 17 days. Never mind, it's 5 days.
Mhm.
Actually, no, that's not true. Hey, you got to be 12 feet apart. You got to be 6 feet apart. I'm like, whenever people throw out like, this is 100% it.
Yeah.
I'm
Blanket
like,
statements. Yeah.
Nope, it's not. Like I can already call BS on that.
Mhm.
So I think chaos will ensue for sure.
Yeah.
If an actual intelligent life form comes and like interacts with people and it's a public thing.
Yeah.
The problem is, I think it's very possible that that's been happening and it's all behind closed doors.
Yeah. Dude, there's so much shit. Like you said, hey, God, they probably have already known about those giant coils underneath of the pyramid for years. And, and maybe I'm gullible. And maybe the trick has always worked on me where they shake the keys to the baby to
Yep.
make them stop crying, and they look at the keys and then they take the picture to get the smile. It's a distraction, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a distraction. It's like, hey, yeah, hey, dude, release the information about the pyramids. Okay. Meanwhile, we're going to go overthrow a government. Or meanwhile, we're going to murder a whole bunch of people, or like release a toxin in the water to drive people out of an area so we can buy the land up and then develop it. Or it's just like those fires in California, and
Oh
like
my
just
gosh,
listening to the
man.
crazy conspiracy theories where it's just like, yeah, or Hawaii, that land has so much value that they just wanted to burn the houses off. It's going to be crazy expensive to rebuild. So people aren't going to rebuild. And then they're just going to take the money. And then meanwhile, these big investors are going to come in, buy the land for real cheap, and then make a ton of money developing it again. And
Oh,
so it's
dude, the
just
blue
like,
roof theory that's out there. Have
what's
you
the
seen
blue
that?
roof?
Oh, listen, you're going to dive down a serious rabbit hole. The blue roof theory, and this ties into all the fires, is that there was a laser that was starting these fires. If you look at the footage, there's a ton of houses that all have blue roofs that didn't get touched. And it's literally like everything's burned around their house. Their house, totally fine. Just dive into it. I don't want to spoil too much for you.
Well,
Dive
this is what
into
we
it.
do. This is what we do. So we have to spoil it because I don't want to go look up another damn conspiracy theory. I want to hear the rumor about it from you. So
Dude,
they're saying lasers from space were causing these fires.
so there's, again, AI can create all kinds of crazy images that look super real. There are actual videos of very strong beams of light coming down while the fires were going on, like singular beams, not like a spotlight. And the idea, there's actually videos out there where this person is shining a laser at things and it's catching it on fire, and then it gets to the color blue, and for whatever reason, how it refracts the light, nothing happens to it. And then it goes to green, and it catches fire. It goes to red, it goes to pink, it goes to orange, it goes to white, black, all of these, they all catch fire. The blue roof houses do not catch fire. And Joe Biden was on tape going, what about the blue roofs? Take a look at the blue roofs. And it was just like one of those weird, like, oh, this guy's stumbling around like kooky, crazy uncle. And he like says it and he's like, no, seriously, man. I mean, all the blue roofs. And I'm like, dude, he's just like spewing out this weird stuff that it's like, oh, he heard that in a meeting and he doesn't even know what it means, but he knows it's important. And anyways, you look at it and you look at, I mean, there's so many influential people's houses in Hawaii and California that nothing happened to. Meanwhile, everything burned. I'm like, that fire doesn't discriminate.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
fire burns everything equally. Sure, a different material maybe, but I'm like, what's the deal with a bunch of houses on an aerial shot of blue roofs and nothing else? Like, all of these structures are still intact. Anyways,
That's weird shit, dude.
Dude, it's super weird. But I mean, the amount of like weather manipulation that can happen now, the amount of like Dubai, they got screwed. Did you see that when they flooded?
Oh, when they seeded the clouds?
They seeded, yeah, they were doing cloud seeding and they got dumped. Mother Nature was like, screw you, dude. Quit trying to impregnate me. This is what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You know?
And it flooded all their streets.
Oh, dude, there were just Lamborghinis completely submerged in water. Bugattis I mean, like, dude, you just don't mess with the natural order of things. That's one thing. I'm like, whether this is just by chance or by design, the earth runs in a systematic way. And when you try to jack with that, things go south in a hurry.
Oh, dude, just look at what humans have done so far in this world, right?
Yeah.
We are responsible for many great things, but we are also responsible for a lot of bad things too.
Yep.
Right? Like, I mean, I don't know why the first thing that comes to my head is the American buffalo, but
yeah,
hey, let's turn these into hats or coats. So we're just going to shoot the shit out of them to the point of almost extinction. And now, for the most part, they're only wild in captivity or in national parks.
Yep.
And so it's just like, if there's a way to fuck shit up, we're going to do it. And we're going to find a way to do it, whether that's because of greed or like ego or whatever the case is, man. It's just,
those are entertaining movies though too. When they make a movie about like animals or Mother Nature turning on humanity, because like, hey, you guys have been screwing stuff up too long.
Yeah.
Now you're gone. They're like mass extinction movies. Mm-hmm. I'm like, dude, this is incredible. I mean, Day After Tomorrow, although that movie really sucked.
Yeah.
Like, the premise of it was great. I'm like, this is wild. Or what was that one where like the trees started producing a pollen that was like poisoning people?
That was an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah.
And it was it could have been a pollen or it was a virus that something was in the wind.
Yeah.
And when it hit you, you instantly wanted to commit suicide.
Dude, the dude who laid in front of his combine.
Put his face in the lawnmower?
Yeah. Yep. There was like the farmer that got out and like jumped in front of his combine. The dude who, put his face in front of the lawnmower. That's what I think of when I think of burying that carp and tilling it up, is that guy in front of the combine just.
Full circle! Yay!
It's amazing how naturally things just happen for full circle like that.
First circle. Man, like ice ages. Right? Like the Ice Age. People are worried about. So here's a conspiracy theory that really I sometimes have trouble believing. Yes, humans pollute a shit ton. Like we put a ton of chemicals in the water. We put a ton of chemicals in the air from manufacturing and shit like that. But then there's that one time where that volcano in Iceland erupted for I don't know how many years. or like how many days or weeks or whatever happened. It's not, I don't think it's necessarily going anymore. But that eruption, they're saying calculated into 5,000 years of what the current human race is doing to pollute the air every
Yeah.
year. And then that volcano basically farts and puts out the same amount for 5,000 years worth of poison into the air. And no one really talked about that too much.
No.
Or no one's talking about the hole in the ozone layer anymore. Do you remember back when we were
Oh my
kids? It was like,
gosh, man.
I would literally have nightmares
Yep.
about watching the news and saying like there's a hole in the ozone layer. And I thought, dude, I'm not joking. I thought we were going to get sucked into outer space at a moment's notice because there was a hole in the ozone layer.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about, like the flashy light or the like shiny object. Hey, check this out. Check this out. Y2K? You remember Y2K?
I remember Y2K.
The world is going to shut down all electronics. It's essentially going to wipe out technology because the computers don't know how to go from 1999 to 2000. And it's like, yeah, but really? Like,
I don't think anything happened. Like, did anything
literally
bad happen?
nothing happened, but it was just panic and paranoia for
Yeah.
years leading up to that.
Yeah.
And I just think that's the case. I did a speech in college on it was a informative speech on global warming. And the whole thing, I basically was just it was more of a roast of global warming than it was anything. Because I'm like, first it was global cooling way back, then it became global warming, then it became climate change because they couldn't make facts for either global cooling or warming stick because they're realizing it's all cyclical. It just keeps on doing this number, but it's not extreme enough to make any difference. And that's where, if we look at the scale of our planet, just how much water there is, how much land there is, sure, we can devastate it, but it's going to correct itself. Like,
Yeah.
the amount of pollution that we put out is absolutely nothing compared to what the earth can handle. You think about our atmosphere and just the volume of it and just how tiny we are and humanity is and how much ground, like drive through Kansas, drive through Iowa, drive through Wyoming and realize just how much land is untouched. And then you think factories in Chicago are going to cause the whole earth to go into an ice age. Like, it's really kind of stupid.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I'm not a scientist. I don't know shit about glaciers and all I know is that there's a lot of crazy shit that goes on and maybe the scientists are right. Maybe it is man who is causing some of these problems. But then what's crazy is for every scientist that says you should be worried about global warming, there's another scientist that is like, like, is what it is, right? Like,
The problem is science is turned into opinion. Like,
exactly.
scientists know what they know. Like, they actually know a lot of stuff. And then they pretend to know even more.
Right.
And that's where, when numbers change, we know for a fact the fossil record and carbon dating, and we know that the half-life of this is this, and that means this is exactly this many years old. And then a week later, they're like, what I just said, we were off by 2.3 billion years. I'm like, dude, why don't you just stick to what you actually know? Figure it out and then come to us.
Yeah.
Instead of you're pitching hypothesis and theory as fact. And that's what drives me crazy. I get you're always learning, but there's a certain level of BS that I just don't care to step in anymore.
Yeah. So this whole conversation makes me think that there are some of our most popular movies ever made that are actually could become reality, right?
Yeah.
They're so science fiction. I wrote down two just now. Tell me two movies based off of the conversation that we've had that in some weird way could become reality.
Dude, I think Signs,
The movie Signs with Mel
the movie
Gibson,
Signs. Now, I don't think that these aliens are going to be able to be taken out with a baseball bat
or Water.
or water.
Yep.
Like, they wouldn't be super interested in our planet. You know, that's what it's mostly made out of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that movie, and then I just think I don't know what the movie is, but like when they find creatures, or like when a creature, I don't think Godzilla,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I think something wild like that. I think there's stuff under Antarctica. I think there's stuff at the bottom of the ocean. I think there might be things under the ground, like
Mm-hmm.
under North America. Like, we just don't have any clue what's out there right now.
How crazy would it be if 1,000,000 years ago there was a society just like ours and they found out that an asteroid was coming towards Earth? So they went deep, 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 deep into the Earth. The asteroid hits the Earth, it blocks their exit, and society is now, human life is now 100% underground, and they have not come back up because they just didn't feel the need to. They've learned how to survive underground. And there's another society on the Earth that is now thriving all these years later, and there's no way to communicate with it.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm
Dude,
not talking like 1 mile deep. I'm talking like 100 miles deep or some crazy shit like that.
that would be the craziest of all the things that could happen. It would be less crazy for aliens to be like, "Hey guys, we're here."
Yep.
The big eye, the
Yep.
the guitar pick shaped head, like
Mm-hmm.
if they showed up, versus imagine what years and years of not being in the sun, in direct
A
sunlight,
million years
being
of evolution.
underground,
Yeah.
to have some weird version of a human with like translucent skin, and they're
Mhm.
actually people, and like we can communicate with them. That to me would be way scarier
Yeah.
than something from a different planet. To know that there's been a full society under the earth
For the
this
whole
whole
time.
time.
Yeah.
Which is nuts, because you think about it, dude, we don't even know what the center of the earth is made of. You know that, right?
It's all theory. Yeah.
It's 100% theory.
Yeah.
The core is all lava. It's
Yeah.
molten lava. And it's like, dude, you have no idea. There was that movie that they drilled to the center of the earth,
Yep.
the core.
Mhm.
Do you remember that one? They drilled down, and the one material that they didn't account for was open space.
Yeah.
And so they're drilling through the earth to try to get to the core. And then all of a sudden they just hit an insanely huge cavity in the earth. And like their drilled ship, whatever you want to call it, crashes, and they have to repair it. And I'm like, dude, there could very easily be so much under the earth
Oh yeah.
that we don't know about.
Yeah. Dude, crazy. Or the earth is just a vessel for that we're traveling. This is just like the earth is just a ship and we're traveling. We have a destination. Like the earth was put, like life was put into motion to reach another part, another something. And for another species, 1,000,000,000 years is nothing.
Yeah.
But for us, we go through, 1,000,000,000 generations of human life, then reach our destination or some crazy shit like that. But
Gosh. I don't think anything is gonna come to harvest human beings like a lot of movies portray. But dude, the other one that I could think of would be Reign of Fire with Christian Bale, where all of a sudden there's like a freaking dragon that gets unlocked under the earth. Dude, that to me is wild.
yeah,
And I mean, what's funny is there's biblical accounts of Leviathan, this fire-breathing, armor-plated lizard, and every culture has their form of dragon. I mean, you look at Europe, England, the castles defending against dragons, all the way to China, and how infatuated they are with dragons. It's like almost every continent, if not every continent, has some account of dragons passed down. And it's like,
Yeah.
dude, those could be just dormant. Imagine one of those suckers popping up, and we're having to. It goes into post-apocalyptic. You know,
Yeah.
we're hiding in castles and trying to shoot them with traditional weapons again.
Well, I
That
don't
would
see
be
that
wild.
happening. And here's why. Because the United States military has something called an F-16 or some of that new higher end stuff that just shoots one missile at it and like, oh my God, great discovery. And this thing just starts crushing cities, right? And in 15 minutes of it breathing fire on wherever it comes out of, a jet packed with about 6 rockets is going to come and just blow the shit out of it.
And I have no idea what the full capability of the United States military, not to mention the whole rest of the world,
Yeah.
is insane.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I get that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like it's going to go and run through, but like, say war breaks out and we're destroying ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
like we're destroying each other. And then that, like, some atomic bomb causes a crack in the earth and now one pops out when most of civilization is already decimated.
Yep.
Then
You're
I don't
screwed.
know. I don't think that one's going to happen. But it's like I think we're going to discover something absolutely insane, and hopefully it brings countries closer together instead of farther apart. We're fighting over minerals, but if we all had a common enemy, things would probably be better around
Yeah.
the world.
Like in the movie Independence Day,
Yeah.
right? We all work together to beat this invasive species.
Yeah.
But they even dropped a nuke on one of them and it was still there, right?
Dude.
Like the nuclear bomb didn't do anything to it. But we found out, well, I don't know, like putting a computer virus into it worked, right?
Yeah.
2 other movies I want to mention that could potentially be real and AI, right?
Oh, dude.
Terminator. The Terminator. All right. That we give AI life and it goes and all of a sudden it's just like, hey, wait a second. The human race is actually doing a lot of damage, right?
Yeah.
And in order for this planet to be, we're going to kill all humans. That's the best way for this planet to move forward. That one. So
For sure.
AI takes over and kills us all. All right. I feel like that could potentially be a reality. The
And
other,
in a like near reality.
yeah.
That could happen fast.
Right. And so, in another AI type of world, the next movie that makes almost more sense, but is actually scary as shit, is The Matrix.
Oh gosh, dude.
Where humans aren't killed, they're farmed for their body heat, basically, that's turned into electricity. So we're essentially batteries for the computers that run the show. And so the Matrix happens, and then all of a sudden we figure out, holy shit, we're not real. Like this world we live in is a computer program. And the real
now
world,
deja vu makes more sense. Now wild dreams that come out of nowhere that happen over and over make more sense.
exactly.
Dude,
Exactly.
I don't want to fight robots, I'll tell you that right now. That would suck, dude. They would just wipe us out. Just think of how much damage could be done if AI realized that they could hack into every Tesla and electric vehicle that has self-driving capabilities and just start crashing them into everything.
Well, there's a movie about it.
Yeah.
There's a movie about that,
that
and
new
how
one, that's the Ethan Hawke one.
Is it Ethan Hawke? I think so, yeah.
The one
And
that just came out. Yeah,
the
I just
airplanes
saw it.
are coming out of the sky
Yep.
and that shit. Teslas they get a hold of that and they block all the interstates.
Yep.
Dude.
Yeah, they all essentially like get set to home and they all are just crashing into the back of one another. But it's like, dude, AI could program everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Elon Musk was so terrified of AI a couple of years ago. He talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's fully jumping on board with it. And AI terrifies me more than all of the other things. Because everything is numbers. Yeah. Everything is hackable.
Mm-hmm. The human brain, dude. Even to the point where some dude, like, so I listened to this guy one time and he was talking about how the porn of the future isn't going to involve humans anymore. AI is going to generate it and you won't even know what's real or not anymore. Right? Or, like if the president of the United States, somebody could put out a post there that's 100% AI generated and it's like, wait a second. He said like we're going to fight, like there's going to be a war between Republicans and Democrats. But it was AI generated. So they created these conflicts so that they could establish like this chessboard full of moves and shit.
Oh my gosh. Well, dude, I mean,
we're all going to die. I hope you know that.
Think about how good AI is becoming. It won't be long before it could just be, it takes over everything. It takes over all news cycles. We are still seeing the same talking heads on TV telling us stuff, and they're not there. Mm-hmm. They're gone. It's just something it's just artificial intelligence creating information for us. How many people have seen Donald Trump in person?
Yeah.
Right? It could create this whole system where we're seeing Donald Trump. He's telling us these things. We're going to war with this person. We're putting tariffs on this or that. Same with Putin. Same with Zelensky. Same with all of these world leaders, where it's like we could just be being fed information that is not real at all.
Right.
It's just all doctored for
serve
some
an agenda.
goal in mind.
Yeah.
Right?
What about if the world was really like the Truman Show with who's the comedian who was in the Truman Show? Jim Carrey. And this is not real. None of this is real. And the earth is actually flat, or there's no earth and it's a simulation. Like,
we're just all, dude, that's one thing that I'm not getting behind is the flat earth theory.
Yeah. I can't.
There's a lot of things that I'm like, well, okay, we didn't really land on the moon. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. They staged that whole thing, and now it's like, yeah, it's pretty clear that we haven't landed on the moon.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, here's one thing that I would say is that the more hot babes that you have behind any theory, the more dudes are going to follow it. So I'm saying there's just a hole in the marketing game of flat earthers. Involve some hot chicks who are also flat earthers. You'd get more dudes to come over and potentially believe in flat earth.
Yeah, when your spokesperson is like, excuse me, I think it's just a giant projector above the earth. What if we're all in the Las Vegas sphere and that is what we see every day? Versus like,
hey, big boy.
Hey, guys, there's actually a lot of evidence out there.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Just some low-cut shirt with their titties hanging out. Yeah.
And it's just like, I might need to look into this more.
Yeah, I definitely need to look into this more. Oh, there's a conference in a city near me. I'll be there. If she's going to be there, I'm going to be there.
I also think that women could just be running everything, and we have no idea.
They are. They have all the power. They have no idea.
Like, no matter how strong-willed men are, the fact that we cave so quickly.
To start the show is a perfect example.
Yeah.
You caved, dude.
Yep.
You may not have even wanted another kid, but you got one now.
Yep.
And guys have been doing that for centuries. Like, since the existence of humans.
Well, Dune. Have you watched the Dune movies?
I've seen them, yes.
The women are just the Jezerite or something like that.
The Jezerite?
Jezerite.
Yep.
They are running everything. And they talk about how easily men are manipulated into doing whatever they want. And I'm like, that is it. That's it. You know what a man would go through to have peace in his household and to have a happy wife?
Oh, shit. I'd go through a lot, dude.
There is no level that I wouldn't go to just make sure everything's good. My wife and my kids are happy and safe.
Calm.
Just
calm, easy, right?
Just a peaceful sanctuary of a household. Like, that would be I mean, that's every guy's dream.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, how many wars over history have been started because of a woman?
Yeah.
Right. What's
Dude,
that movie?
Napoleon. Did you
Yeah.
see that?
I haven't seen that
Napoleon?
movie yet. I haven't seen that movie, but I
Dude,
need
watch
to.
that. That's a hot take on Napoleon and
Yeah.
just his personal life and how everything pans out. It's pretty wild. It was a good movie.
Yeah. I would chalk that one up to a chick, but also short man syndrome, where
Dude.
he started a war because he was short.
Self-esteem issues is probably, I mean, like, I think every mass shooter has had serious self-esteem issues.
Yeah.
Insecurities.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's obviously something mentally wrong, but like, if you know who you are as a person, you're not going to do that stuff.
Yeah. Like if it came out that all mass shooters had small dicks, then
I had that theory, micro penis.
Micro penis. Yep.
Yep. I have
Dude,
that
I
same
hate my
theory
life.
about-
I'm going to take it out on society.
Yep. We
Not
looked it up.
too far off. Not too far off.
Look up the stats on micro penises. It'll surprise you. 1 in 200 men.
Have a micro penis?
0.5% of the population has a micro penis. 1 in
What
200
is considered
men.
what is considered a micro penis?
I think it was 3 inches or smaller, fully erect.
All right.
So you think there's that many
I'm glad you
people?
said that number because I just, I asked the question, I got nervous, and then I wiped the sweat off my brow, and I'm like, I'm good. I'm good,
No,
dog.
me and my buddy, we started talking about it because he has done EMS work for a long time, and he said he's seen a couple of them because a lot of times with injuries, I mean, they basically have to strip all the clothes off, and he's like, I mean, it doesn't like a true micro penis. He's like, it doesn't poke out past the bush even.
So, full disclosure here, in high school, we had a kid in our grade, and I swear to God, he had a micro penis because we, at the end of football practice or sports, there was no individual showers back then. It was one big, like, there was like 10 shower heads, 15 shower heads on this.
Everyone's super naked, and if you wear your swim trunks, something's
you get
wrong
made fun
with
of.
you.
Right. So everybody went in, and this dude, it was like this. Right. And he was very self-conscious about it, but it must not be so self-conscious about it because he has a family now. He's married.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a kid. So I'm guessing if there's a dude out there who has a micro penis, your best odds of living a great life is finding a girl with a micro vagina. Because I'm guessing that there's
Is that a thing?
It's got to be, right? I'm sure. Like,
never thought about that.
I'm sure. Like, if there's big dicks and there's small dicks, there's got to be big vaginas and small vaginas. Like, there's not a one size fits all vagina. Trust me, right? Like, I mean, before I was married,
man.
I'm just saying, like, there was some times where I felt like a stud, and then there was other times where I was like, hello. I gotta get my keys, dude. So,
is there a garage door opener on this thing?
So there's always that funny episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Have you ever seen that show?
No, I haven't.
Where he's like, no, I don't have a small penis. She's got a huge vagina. And so, dude, I'm sure there's measurements just like height and weight and just like boob size and things like that.
People with huge eyes. Have you noticed a trend? This is kind of fascinating to me, and I haven't articulated it before, but have you noticed there's like, it might be 30 different ways that people look. Like you see somebody and you're like, that guy looks like this person.
I think about
and this
that,
person
yeah.
and this person. Like there's just they have the same skull structure and the way their face is formed.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like there's a whole slew of girls with like pointy noses and huge teeth.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed.
Mm.
And
Are they vampires?
dude, I don't know
They could
what
be.
it is, but there is like very distinct categories of the way people look.
Mm-hmm.
And there's got to be something wild to that.
Yeah.
Because like over time, you would think everybody would have super unique features
Mm-hmm.
and faces. But even with all of this evolution and change and like having sex with different people, creating your own offspring, there's like certain things that just don't change.
Right. Yeah.
And certain characteristics. Like I had a guy reach out. I've never been like, that dude looks just like me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've done that to other people, like, oh, that guy looks just like Dan Johnson. But this guy reached out to me and he's like, dude, you're my doppelganger. We look exactly alike. And I was like, well, that's weird. I looked him up. I didn't think it was the case at all. But I've had other people, I've seen pictures of people where I'm like, is that me? Oh, never mind. Like the dude's got sunglasses on, but all of his facial features look just like me. And so I'm like, I don't know. I think there's something more to it than just like, oh, we look alike.
Yeah.
I think 100,000 years from now, there will be certain people that look just the same.
Really? You don't think that over the course of like more blacks and whites and Chinese and Arabs and South Americans and Norwegians will all have like a big orgy, like
No.
a genetic orgy, and then like this mocha human evolves to where everybody starts to look
A little bit
because
everybody's
look at-
Tiger Woods.
yeah, kind of. Or everybody, I wouldn't say Tiger Woods to me seems a little dark. Like, in not a racist way, but like,
That sounded so. He's a little black for my liking. That sounded so racist.
It's not. It's not supposed to be.
You're saying in a perfect blend of all humans,
Exactly.
the actual person would look more like this.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. Like, I'm gonna guess a little darker than. I'm gonna say probably like a turkey type, not like Nigerian and not Scandinavian, but like if you mixed white and black and light brown and like a pale white, like or whatever the Asians are, and you mix them all together. I'm guessing you're going to come out with some kind of grayish brownish, like beautiful color, right?
Yeah.
I
get that. I get
a
that.
dark suntan on a white guy.
Yep. I get that. I think if that were blended, if like all of humanity was blended into one, I feel like they would look more Middle Eastern, dark hair, darker features. But I just think that tribalism is so ingrained
Alive
in
and well.
humanity.
Yeah.
That it would never, like, we're never all going to be the same.
Right. Yeah. Not for a long time.
I feel like people are attracted more to people who look like them. Like how many full redhead couples do you see?
Yeah.
Well, that blows
my mind.
It's just like, that's normal.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm familiar with. This is what I'm comfortable with.
Do I look in any way, shape, or form to a big butt Latina?
No.
Okay. Well, that's kind of what turns me on. A little bit. I mean, that's just a little bit. But yes, I married a woman who is white. And but don't they consider, like, isn't there other types of Latin American people who they consider Caucasians?
I don't know.
That's a good question. Maybe we have some research for next week.
Yeah. We've got a lot of research. We covered everything.
I
It started
really
with the Two Dads podcast,
exactly.
and then it just went to conspiracy theory,
Yeah.
and now,
I mean, but that's what dads talk about.
yeah.
That's what regular dudes, dads, dudes, Dans. That's what we talk about, dude.
Listen, if this is anybody's fifth podcast or sixth podcast listening, they're sticking around for the long haul.
The long haul.
I'll tell
right,
you that.
Right. Tell your friends, dude, because
There's more people
we're
that
trying
it's
to
going
make
to be
this
their
big.
one and only episode for sure.
These douchebags. Like, we're not listening to these guys ever again.
Never again.
Never again. But hey, if this is the way I look at it. If me and you are laughing at some stuff and having a good time talking about it, I know a lot more guys out there who are similar to us than probably like these guys are dumbasses, right? These guys are so stupid. I'm never going to listen to them again. I have a feeling like there's more guys out there that can relate to our thought process. And if not, the way I look at it is there's 100 million men in the United States. If we can get 40% of them, hey, dude, I'm okay with that.
40%? Yeah, that'd be great.
Maybe even 1% of them, I think I would be happy with.
I'd be super pumped about that. But yeah, I think men are, there's a whole generation of men that are not really men in my opinion, but the average dude is just a caveman with cooler toys.
Exactly.
We're like, oh, woman.
I like that.
Oh, destroy. Like, we're all just a bunch of idiots. We really are. Yeah. And the ones who act super sophisticated aren't part of our group either. We're all like, look at these idiots. You don't want to destroy that right now?
Yeah.
I don't want to get my clothes dirty.
I can remember when I was a kid, I got a monster truck, remote control car for my birthday. And I played with it like you're supposed to play with it for a handful of hours. And then I took it apart.
Yep.
Took every screw out of it. And I said to myself, hey, I'm going to put this back together. And then my mom and dad got home from work and they were so pissed at me because they couldn't even put it back together. And so they just bought this expensive remote control monster truck. And then I took it apart and I think I had it for maybe 3 days. And then it was gone. So
hey, you mentioned Mark Driscoll earlier. Yep. He says that we are just boys who can shave.
There you go.
That's it.
Go. And I wish more women knew that.
Yeah.
Like, don't tell me that. I already know that. Tell women how simple we are. Treat us like that. Treat us with respect and show us your boobs. Like, that's that's pretty much what a guy wants.
You will control humanity.
Yep.
If that's your stuff. Yeah. When they say, what are you thinking about? Well, it was nothing, but now I'm thinking about the fact that you just asked me what I'm thinking about. Yep. Like, that's about how simple. It's, how would I defend against a ninja jumping through the window and attacking me right now? And then just trying to decipher what you're wanting out of me. Like that sums up our thought process.
Dude, that's accurate.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. It's all like these impossible scenarios. Like that are never going to happen.
The amount of impossible scenarios and conversations I have throughout the day, it's just like everywhere I go, I'm like, all right, yeah, that could be used as a weapon.
Yep.
If I had to get my family out of here, how would I do it?
Yeah.
What door would I go through?
Yep.
Yep. Would I take out the threat first and then get my kids? Or get my kids and try to take out the threat while my kids are with me?
Mm-hmm. Or use your kids. See, I always thought about this. If a guy came at me and he was just empty-handed, I feel like if I had a kid within arm's reach of me, I could throw a kid at this guy to distract him. Meanwhile, you got 50 pounds in the air coming at you. You would be like, what? And then behind that 50 pounds is 230 pounds of pissed off gorilla. And then I just beat the shit out of this guy. Those are what are the ethics of using your kid actually as a distraction mechanism or a weapon against a threat?
Here's another video that you're going to have to check out after this. Have you seen the chick that swings her tiny dog on a leash at another chick when they're getting in a street fight?
I have not.
Oh,
But
she
that sounds
uses it like a
interesting.
mace.
Okay.
I mean, she's swinging her dog around, and it's terrible. It's probably been taken down, but it's out there somewhere, I'm sure. And she literally is like trying to hit this lady with her dog, even though it's on the end of the leash. She's just
Like a mace in medieval times.
100. Just look it up, dude. Like,
I love
woman
it.
uses dog on a leash to fight another woman, and you're gonna get a kick out of it. If I remember correctly, both of them look like they should avoid rope swings.
Thick.
So
Thick chicks. Just thick chicks. Dude,
oh man,
2 hours. That's a PR.
was that 2? Holy crap!
I've started recording 1 hour and 55 minutes ago. That's a PR.
Nuts.
But I didn't get bored during
That
this
went
conversation. Felt great. I need this in my life, and I'm glad you're a part of it, Dan. What's the name of our podcast again?
2Ds, one podcast.
And when this episode launches, we will have an Instagram page. We will have an RSS feed already established. So go to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you download your podcasts. I'm going to create a YouTube channel for this page as well, and we're gonna make this accessible for everybody. We're all inclusive. So we don't care what your race is, what your gender is. We want to include everybody into this podcast. We are probably going to make fun of you at some point. I would look at this podcast kind of like a South Park, where
Yeah, I can see that.
nothing's off limits. We don't actually hate anybody, but we are going to make fun of everybody,
But if there's
including
a flaw,
ourselves.
we're going to point it out.
Exactly. That's what I like.
It's like your friend. We're like your friends, guys.
Yeah.
Your friends can make fun of you, but you can't make fun of someone who's not your friend.
Yeah, we're all friends. Is where
Or
I'm
it goes
getting at.
south. We're all friends.
Yeah, we're all friends.
We're all friends, just plugged in, being harvested for battery power.
Exactly. Dan, until next time, my friend.
That was fun.